All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. Frank here. Got a different kind of project today. Going to paint the interior of the home addition, or at least start painting the interior of this home addition. So over the past 8 months, we've had a general contractor working on site here at our home, building a 2-story addition attached to the house. And it's a master suite upstairs, which is where we are, and then downstairs, which is a walkout basement, is another bedroom, bathroom, closet, and a mechanical room. And we'll go down there when we get shortly, and I'll show you that as well. Basically, it's a 16 by 22, maybe a little bit less than 22, 21 foot bedroom with a closet and a master bath. So what I've got to do today is prime all of the walls, and upstairs and hopefully downstairs as well. We'll see how things go. And I would also like to paint the ceiling. So I've got the paint. I've got an airless sprayer. I've used 2 or 3 different kinds of airless sprayers over the years, handheld ones, larger, not the kind that go into a bucket, which this one does, but have a reservoir in them and a hose with a spray handle, nozzle on the end of a hose. And I've used that kind of a sprayer for spraying the outside of a barn. I've sprayed a stable. I did the interior of my workshop with that kind of a sprayer. Years ago, I mean like decades ago, I painted the outside of our second home. And I used a sprayer with a big 1.5 quart cup on it, climbing up a ladder, spraying the siding, going down, filling the cup up. So that would have been in the mid 80s. So that's a long time ago. Airless sprayers have come a long way since then. What I've got here is a Graco kind of prosumer type sprayer. It's not an industrial kind of thing that a painting contractor would use, or someone that's doing a lot of painting would use. It's kind of a large project, homeowner type sprayer, and I'll show you what it is in a few minutes. I'll just spin the camera around, let you see the room. There is an exterior door with a little deck outside. You probably can't see the deck, but you've got windows. These windows face the river side of the house. There's a door here into the original master bedroom, which will become an office. Got a closet here, closed closet, and then the other doorway over here is a master bath. We'll walk over there and I'll give you an idea what that looks like. So we'll have a freestanding soaking tub here. There's a 30 by 60 inch shower, prefab fiberglass gel-coated pan. Of course, no work's been done on that yet. Got a linen closet, space for a double vanity, and of course spot for a toilet. So this master bath, the overall room, it's a good sized bedroom, and the closet. So if you're doing any project like this or contemplating any kind of project like this, I didn't anticipate the amount of space that the linen closet in the bathroom takes up in the clothes closet. So, all right, as you can see, got all the tape, all the sheetrock is taped and finished. Do have a vaulted ceiling in here. Total height's 13 feet. And I have all the windows masked so we can spray. And walk out here. We decided to have an exterior door put on here for a couple of reasons. Maybe the main one is so that the contractors working in here wouldn't have to walk through the house to build this. But we do have a little deck with what's going to be a walkway over here. Still working on that. And of course, you could sit out here with a cup of coffee and enjoy the view. So there is also a walkway, a patio and walkway downstairs. And we'll walk around the house and give you a better view of the rest of the house. There's still some work to be done. None of the light fixtures are hung, so we've got that to do. We've used all Anderson windows and doors, which is the same as the rest of the house. It is a little cool outside. I've been waiting a couple days to do the painting and have the weather conditions right. My HVAC is not yet running. One thing I'm not too jazzed about, but can live with, I guess, is the cold air return up on the wall like that. I guess that's good in the summer where you pull the hot air and cool it. Not so great in the winter where you want the cold air to be returned to the heat pump. So after we finish up here, we'll go downstairs and I'll show you the downstairs. There is a mechanical room with a 2-zone heat pump and a water heater. The water heater for the house is on the far end of the house, and it would take 15 minutes to get hot water over here in the master bath. So the reason for an additional water heater downstairs. So, all right, let's get started on getting set up to do the painting. I do have power in here. I have 2 energized electrical outlets that they've hooked up the power from the house. There is a 110 amp service to this addition. There's a sub panel in the basement, so we'll look at that too. All right, I've got the sprayer here. I'll show you what I got, what I'm going to do, and we'll get started putting some paint on these walls. All right, so this is a kind of a prosumer type airless spray system made by Graco, which is one of the biggest manufacturers. It pulls paint out of a bucket. So you've got a suction tube and a return line. So this can separate. And then you can also hook a hose up to this for cleaning purposes. They give you a hose attachment with a valve. So there's your suction line. And it's just an airless spray pump. Most of you guys are familiar with the technology involved here. So there's a priming position and then a spray position and a pressure setting. So for spraying, and on-off switch. So got to set this up, got to prime it, and then we'll put it in the paint and test it out. So this is a drywall primer. This has been mixed, so I think I'm in good shape here. Just give it a little stir. Looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of painting here. Setup for the sprayer is going to be different, so you need to follow the manufacturer's instructions. So I have a Tyvek suit and a spray sock. I purchased for this purpose. I don't know that I'm going to need it. I'm kind of waiting to see how bad the overspray is. And there's not much overspray, so I think I'm going to carry on with just a respirator, at least for the time being. All right, so I basically have this whole room done in what, 10 minutes or maybe even less. So I'm going to turn the camera off, keep working. I'll bring you back at some other interesting point. All right, I've got all the walls primed in here, including the bathroom and the closet in there, linen closet, and then the closet, closed closet here. It's still damp, of course. So just finished spraying. This was the last area I sprayed, and I literally ran out of primer. This pail was empty. I had to tip it over to get the last little bit out of it to finish the closet. So, and I've got one little holiday here actually, but I think I got really good coverage everywhere. So I think this is all going to work. All right, I've got the pail of ceiling paint open, got the dip tube in it, and we're going to put ceiling paint on. So my protocol here, or at least my sequence of events, is prime the walls, and I don't need to worry too much about overspray on the ceiling or the floor, obviously, since it's subfloor. And then spray ceiling paint on the ceiling, and this is primer plus paint, so I'm not priming ahead of time. And a little bit of overspray on the walls won't matter because they're going to get a coat of color. So, and of course I'll have to pay more attention to that. That'll be the only coat, that'll be the third time around that I'll have to worry about overspray. So, all right, and I may roll that, I don't know yet. All right, so I'm going to get set up here and do the ceiling. All right, I've got this room finished. That is, the walls primed and the ceiling painted, ceiling white. So I just came up from downstairs. We'll walk out there and I'll show you the rest of the addition. So as I mentioned, this is the deck. This is I call it the coffee deck. Come out here with a cup of coffee and just relax. This is facing west, almost due west. Beautiful sunsets out here. All right, we'll head down the stairs here. The unfinished hardscaping here will include stairs up to what is the front of the house. We'll walk up here. So this is the addition, at least the upper floor of it. So you can see it matches the house almost exactly. So I've already got shrubs planted here. These shrubs are actually from another spot on the property that had to be removed. So we transplanted them here. Not sure if they're going to stay or not, but they'll be all right. They're Burford and needlepoint hollies, and then some knockout roses between them. We'll go back down the treacherous walkway here. This will be pavers, brick pavers. Still a lot of cleanup to be done on the property here. There's the condenser unit for the dual zone heat pump, sewage ejector pump. Since they can't do gravity to our septic tank, from, as most of you know that are rural residents, we're on well and septic here. So they can't gravity feed from the addition to the septic tank. So there's a sewage ejector pump here. That's going to get a concrete casing around it and a lid. This is the outside of the addition. You can see it from the downhill side. There's a concrete apron, and they just finished the walkway. This is a continuation of the walkway which runs behind the entire house. So that's the upstairs master bedroom, and then the downstairs. So this section is the addition here. We'll walk up here. I'll show you the inside. Just finished, like I said, I just finished painting in here. Actually, the painter's still here. I need to take this up and get it cleaned up. It actually turned out to be, a really good piece of equipment. I put almost 15 gallons of paint through this machine this morning. I left the lid upstairs. I have just a little bit. This was a 5-gallon pail of ceiling paint and almost none left. Got about a third of this is the second pail. It's the first pail of wall primer. There's about a third of a pail left there. So I used 8 gallons of wall primer and virtually 5 gallons of ceiling paint. So we're done in here. So this has just got a standard ceiling. This is a doorway into the existing basement. You can see in here, this is going to be a little bathroom. It's going to have a 30 by 60 inch shower. We'll tile this. We'll use go board for the tile backer board. And of course there'll be a toilet and then a small vanity here. So this is the soffits, you know, where we're able to keep all the soffits in these 3 little rooms, so there are no soffits for ductwork in the main room. So, small bathroom rooms. This is the mechanical room. We do have a water heater, 2-zone heat pump, and of course still some mess on the floor. There is a sub panel here from the main panels in the house. The house has 200 amp panels, has 400 amp service. So we pulled 110 amp service in here. And that's for the heat pump, strip heaters. I think it's 8 or 10 kilowatt strip heaters, and then hot water heater. Those are the only 2 significant loads on this, you know, in the addition. All right, good morning. This is 2 days later. We finished painting upstairs here. So we've got the master bedroom, closet, and bathroom painted. And the HVAC is running. They came yesterday and energized the heat pump, 2-zone heat pump, a couple thermostats on the wall, so they're all working. All right, so we're going to move downstairs and paint the basement this morning. So got some stuff to move down, bring you back when we get down there. All right, I'm down in the basement. This has been completely primed, and the ceiling's been painted. So we're ready to put some color on the walls. We'll get set up, prep for that, and we'll do a little bit more painting. What I'm using is a little edger. has a couple little wheels on it and a pad. So I like to use these for cutting in. It's nice when I don't have to cut in around doors and everything. I do need to do the cold air return register, so I'll do cut in around that, and I'll move into the other rooms. Got the entire basement painted now. Bathroom. Might have a couple spots to touch up, but mechanical room still needs to be cleaned up. I will say one thing here about the mechanical room. There is a dual zone system here. This is a Bosch heat pump and has a Honeywell temperature management system of some sort that has two dampers up here that control air to upstairs and downstairs. And then there's this bypass damper which sends air back into the return down here when it's not called for in one of the zones. And it maintains static pressure so that there's flow in the zone that's calling for cooling or heating. So the system is just installed. I don't know how well it's going to work. My experience this morning was that even though the thermostat down here wasn't calling for heat, it was running. So heating, increasing the downstairs temperature. It was set on 65 or 64 and went from 70 to 72 over the course of an hour. So I'm not sure what's wrong with that. The contractor installed it's supposed to come back and look at it and see what needs to be done to fix it. But other than that, everything in here is done. So that will wrap up this episode of the addition, Frank's Addition. So we'll come back next time, continue to work on something else. I think flooring is due next week, I believe. So we'll see what happens with that. And since I have a contractor installing that, and then after that is trimming out the windows and doors. So there's 2 windows down here and a set of double doors. And then upstairs, of course, there's, a bunch more windows. So we'll come back working on that stuff. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.